Alima has gone for you. How are you feeling about that?
Good. Every girl is beautiful here, so...
Every girl is beautiful, but Alima chose you.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
When you walked in and then Maya was like, oh, how are you feeling? She's like, oh, you're all beautiful. And then I'm just
I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah,
Obviously,
if
I
I'm
got a little
coupled
bit
up with a man, I don't need another woman to tell them that I'm beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
It's a reoccurring script, written and rewritten every season. This is the ritual humiliation of black women on Love Island, and we really need to talk about it. Black women on Love Island are rarely seen as full, complex individuals. Instead, they're reduced to two rigid roles, the angry black woman and the boring, undesirable one. There's no space in between, and there's no space for complexity or growth. If she's outspoken, even once, she's aggressive. If she's reserved, oh, she's dull. If she stands up for herself, she's intimidating. If she says nothing, she's forgettable. The moment she enters that villa, she's already on trial, forced to tiptoe around every word, every look, every interaction, every reaction. Because unlike her white counterparts, she's not given grace. She's not allowed to be flawed or messy or human. She cannot have a bad day. She cannot miscommunicate. She cannot appear uncomfortable without being crucified. But the truth is, she's not just navigating love, she's navigating a minefield of stereotypes, expectations and public scrutiny. And that moment she steps outside of the acceptable version of the black woman, the backlash is brutal and swift. For everyone else, mistake is a part of their journey, but for her, it's cancellation.
Thank you, Aisha Butterfly, for that wonderful breakdown. I couldn't have said it better myself. All right, let's get into it. Now we're talking about the Love Island problem and basically the anti-Blackness in reality TV and the case of Love Island in particularly. Reality TV is supposed to be an escape, right? I would think so. Flirty summer love, glossy confessionals, messy drama we can laugh at from the couch. But if you're a black woman stepping into these shows, that escape becomes a battlefield. I'm talking about Love Island, The Bachelor, Big Brother, all of them. There's a pattern here. A heavy, undeniable pattern of anti-Blackness that plays out against black women in real time, in front of millions of viewers. And it's time we stop pretending we don't see it. Let's start with Love Island USA. Season after season, we see black women walking with confidence, style on point, personalities glowing, only to get dismissed, sidelined, or straight up villainized. Take on Olandria Carthen or Michelle Chelley. They literally admitted they had to tone themselves down to avoid being cast as the angry black woman. Olandria said, I truly feel like me and Chelley have to tone down a lot. A person who looks the opposite of us gets emotional, and suddenly the producers and cast are catering to them. But what about us? That's not just about editing. That's about how their very existence, full, unfiltered black femininity, gets framed as too much, too intimidating, and too emotional. And then there's JaNa. I'm not sure how you say her name. JaNa Craig from season 6. She left the villa hurt, with fans accusing her ex Kenny Rodriguez of using her for clout while secretly despising black women. Her friends even said he harbored animosity toward black women. That's quite interesting. That's just not a bad breakup. Wow, that's crazy. Actually, that's a whole racial wound playing out under the guise of romance.
Black women on reality TV dating shows are always sitting in a very precarious situation, and what we're seeing play out on this season of Love Island USA is no different. Black women are often held to a higher or a different standard by both the people that they're interacting with on the show and also by the audience. So it's twofold. And as a viewer watching at home, who's also a black woman, it is triggering and it's hard to watch. And what makes it even worse is that time and time again, we see dark-skinned black women sign up for these shows, come on with an open mind and an open heart. And the producers have done them a disservice by casting men who are not romantically interested in dark-skinned black women. So all of this together has made me as a black woman very cautious about how I consume Love Island. Like, there are some seasons of Love Island that I've watched all the way through, and there are some seasons where I've had to stop in the middle. I've had to skip around. I've had to just read what happens online, because the situations that Black women can be put into on this show in particular can be very triggering and very upsetting. And with JaNa and Serena in particular, there's only so much I can take of these very unwarranted lashings that they are getting online. So let's talk about JaNa first. JaNa has been fighting off pick-me allegations from the moment that she picked Connor over Coy. And I think that she fits right into what I just said earlier about Love Island not casting men who are romantically interested in dark-skinned Black women. JaNa came in with an open heart and an open mind. Coy wouldn't open up to her. Connor dropped her like a hot potato when his preference became available. And now we see Kenny, and he comes back in with the Casa Girl. Not because I don't think that he doesn't like JaNa, but for whatever reason, he got scared and brought back Carthen. But I can understand why JaNa is at her breaking point, because she really has been taking L's the entire season, and it's unimaginable because JaNa is an incredibly gorgeous woman. Like, if you saw her walking down the street, you would stop and stare. That's how pretty she is. And then we see people constantly disregarding or devaluing her feelings in the villa. First, during that dumping with Olandria, where all the boys all but said out loud that JaNa should have been the one to be sent home. And then in last night's episode, we see Miguel and Leah downplaying JaNa's feelings again when it comes to Kenny and how he recoupled. And compare that to Kayla's treatment in this most recent episode. All of the guys consoling her, giving her a hug, reassuring her. And I know that the length of the relationships is vastly different. Kayla and Aaron have been together since day one. But still, I feel like when a woman is upset and a woman is crying, you know, guys, just go over and console them and comfort them. Even when JaNa was so upset after the Olandria dumping, you know, we didn't see any televised apologies or anything like that. Maybe they did so off camera, but I just see a stark difference in how Kayla is treated versus JaNa. Which brings me to Serena and her 100% justified rage towards Cordell. Serena has not done anything violent or aggressive. She is upset and she is angry and she is sad. She has all of these emotions going through all at once. But people online have completely blown some comments that she made out of proportion, and the plate with the breakfast on it out of proportion, as if she flung this plate across the room at Cordell's head. She put her arm out and the plate was there and the plate got shoved into his chest. He was not hurt. There was no bloodshed. It was not aggressive. She didn't want to talk to him, and he should have walked away. And now we're seeing all of these adjectives being ascribed to Serena, like aggressive. You guys know exactly what you mean when you're calling Serena aggressive. She is not being aggressive. She is angry. Yeah, she has an emotion. She has rage. She's not being aggressive. She is not a threat to anyone in the villa. It's funny how the words aggressive are never used to describe Leah when she's going off on Rob, or Liv when she's going off on all of the guys in the villa, or even in this past episode, Kayla repeatedly telling Aaron, I want to hit you, I want to hit you, I want to hit you, over and over and over again. Why is it that that's not aggressive, but Serena is being called aggressive? I also don't like how all of the guys in the villa are kind of like looking at Serena sideways or acting like she's crazy for reacting in the way that she did. Like, I did not like Kendall's comment about how he said that she was trashing all of her friendships. What friendships? You guys are not her friends. And she is rightfully upset about that. You guys are feeding information to Dea and you're feeding information to Serena that it's conflicting and it's upsetting. But I don't want to add on a bad note, and I do think that the Love Island USA producers are making some necessary steps forward in this entire Love Island franchise when it comes to showcasing our Black women positively and respectfully. Obviously, we have Queen Justine, who is the first solo Black winner of Love Island USA, because we don't talk about who she won with. We had the amazing representation on Love Island Games. That was a great spinoff. I love Love Island Games. And of course, we have JaNa and Serena, who are two of the standouts on this season of Love Island USA. And even like across the pond, like season 10 of Love Island in the UK with Ella and Whitney and Carthen, amazing, no notes. I did not like how Carthen's arc ended, but I digress. But I want to see more progress. Like, obviously we have made steps forward, but I am making this video. So there's still a problem. There's still a problem in how Black women are overly scrutinized, both by the people in the villa and the audience. And I know it's a societal problem. I don't know what the solution is. I think it comes down to, I guess the producers can't do much about the audience, but they can do something about what goes on in the villa. And I think we need to like make better choices about who we cast or how we educate the cast members before they go in, just so it's not an uncomfortable experience for a large chunk of the audience watching at home. Because the people who comment on my recaps, most of the time, like a lot of the time, are Black women who are following this along. Like, we want to be included in this too, and we want to have a fun experience watching. Now it's kind of veering into a territory where it's becoming a little bit uncomfortable to watch, and I hope we can just get back to having a lot of fun again.
And this isn't just a Love Island problem. Rachel Lindsay, the first Black Bachelorette, has been blunt about how producers weaponize race for drama. She revealed that they literally cast Black men who had never even dated Black women before because they thought it would create tension. Wow, this is crazy. Instead of giving her a real shot at love, they made her love life into a racial experiment. Then there's Taylor Hale, winner of Big Brother 24. She was ostracized by her cast, bullied, called aggressive just for existing. And it wasn't until Black viewers rallied for her online and an alliance of Black players, and they had her back. Then it was made possible for her to see through to the end, you know? Taylor's win was historic, but let's be clear, it came at the cost of her peace. These examples show us the same thing time and time again. Black women aren't allowed to just be. They're framed as aggressive, unlovable, disposable, unless they contort themselves to fit into a box designed by white audiences and producers. Now let's talk about something that keeps coming up. This belief that Olandria can't truly be loved by Nick. Let's sit with that for a second. Why is that idea so believable to so many viewers? Why is it easier to assume Nick is just playing the game rather than seeing Olandria as someone worthy of deep, genuine love? The disbelief isn't about Nick or even Olandria. It's about us. It's about centuries of anti-Black conditioning, where Black women are painted as too strong to need love, too emotional to keep love, or too intimidating to inspire love. So when a couple like Olandria and Nick appears, the culture reflex is doubt. The cultural reflex is indeed doubt. No celebration, no rooting for them, but suspicion. That's anti-Blackness in action. It's subtle, but vicious. Well, some people will say it's just a show. Relax. But here's the thing. These shows are cultural mirrors. They teach audiences who's desirable, who's lovable, who gets the fairy tale ending. When Black women are constantly sidelined or stripped down to stereotypes, it reinforces a lie that Black women aren't fully human in love. That they're strong but not soft, desirable but not chosen, present but never prioritized. And those lies don't stay on TV. They bleed into dating apps, workplaces, friendships, everyday life. That's why the conversation matters. Yes, conversation matters because the harm doesn't cut when the cameras stop rolling. So what do we do with this? First, we stop gaslighting ourselves. When Black women say the system is rigged against them in these shows, believe them. Second, these franchises need to be overhauled with the casting and the editing. Don't just sprinkle in diversity for clout. Put Black women in spaces where their stories can breathe. Let them be complicated. Let them be joyful. Let them be messy. Let them be romantic. Just let them be human. Third, audiences, you and me, we've got to work too. We got to do some work. Stop tearing black women down online. Stop doubting their worthiness of love. If you can root for the white couples who kiss twice and get a wedding spinoff, you can root for Olandria and Chelley too. And lastly, these shows need black producers in the room. People who get it, who can stop these cycles before they play out on national TV again. Here's the truth. Black women don't need to shrink themselves for love. They don't need to be anyone's experiment or anyone's afterthought. Olandria, Chelley, JaNa, Rachel, Taylor, they're not anomalies. They're the proof that the system is broken, not dumb. So the next time someone says it's just reality TV, I want you to remember this. Reality TV doesn't just reflect culture, it creates it. And if we keep letting anti-Blackness slide in these so-called love stories, then we're saying we're okay with rewriting the definition of love without black women in it. And that's something we can't afford. Not now, not ever.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman.